Well, Miriam, thank you so much for joining us today. It is an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Allison, for having me. I'm so excited to be here and be on the show and talk to you about it.
Okay, so tell me, what is Grid?
Yeah, so Grid is a tech startup that's unleashing the power of no code for video games. So we're building a platform. It's called Breshna, which means lightning in the Pashto language, so the bolt and the thunder. And basically, the big idea is making video games at lightning speed without any coding or design skills. So if you think about it, it's kind of like TikTok and Roblox had a baby, and that's Breshna, which empowers everyone, non-gamer, non-tech audiences to go on Breshna and create their own video games. So video games like Super Mario and Tetris and Wordle and Hangman, and you can create your own games without any coding, without any design skills at lightning speed. The fastest game made on Breshna was 4 minutes. So we mean the lightning speed part.
Now, how did you end up being the head of a gaming company?
Yeah, kind of a crazy story, Allison, because if you look at my academic training, I'm an economist. My professional training for the last 12 years have actually been at the World Bank, working in education across 22 different countries, Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, Middle East. So gaming isn't really like a main key feature. But I think through my work at the World Bank and in international development, one of the things that I realized was that purposeful communication, so communication for education or social impact, health, behavior. Unfortunately, it's sometimes very boring. So, being someone who grew up playing games like SimCity and I was learning about urban planning without even knowing I was learning about urban planning, I was like, okay, there has to be a better way to communicate, and tell stories. And I knew video games are powerful communication tools, but making them is actually very expensive, it's very time consuming, and it requires a very skilled team. So like even a simple game like Angry Birds can be $500,000 to create and market and all of that. So for me, I wanted to break the barriers, the time, skills, and cost barriers of making video games. And around 8 years ago, I actually started a not-for-profit gaming studio to create mobile games for positive behavior change. But then last year, we committed to this goal of saying, not only are we going to be the ones creating games, we're going to empower and build for a world where everyone can make their own video games. Just like Canva does for presentations, we want to do for video games.
What is your thoughts or what is your advice to women who maybe want to be part of this world?
Yeah, so it's crazy, Allison. Actually, I completely agree with you. The video games industry is very male dominated. It's starting to shift over the past 8 years. But even 8 years ago, when I started, it's a male dominated industry. Most of the game developers, are men. So therefore, the diversity of storytelling is also not there. Unfortunately, especially in the last decade of video games, when you did see women in video games, they were either standing next to a racing car or something. Objectification of women was unfortunately a common theme. It's starting to change a lot, but I do think that the biggest thing that even myself as a woman in games, my own imposter syndrome was the biggest roadblock. So I've spent 8 years in the industry, and even now sometimes I'm like, do I belong? Like, am I gamer enough and everything? And I think that imposter syndrome is the biggest one that you have to break. And the way I've broken it is actually sounds a little bit cliche, but it's like the 3 P's. It's purpose, perseverance, and passion. So if you show up every single day with perseverance and you move towards your purpose with a passion, you absolutely belong. So no matter, I'm non-tech, non-gamer. I don't spend hours and hours in RPG games, or multiplayer games. But I do game on my mobile. I the hyper casual games. The fastest growing genre of games is actually mobile games, hyper casual games. And the average gamer is a 35-year-old woman playing Candy Crush on the metro, right? So we belong. We're here. It's our space as well. It's our story to tell, and break your own imposter syndrome.
So tell me a little bit about how you're moving into Web3 and how NFTs fit in with Breshnaverse.
Yeah, so Alison, this part's really exciting to us, and it's our like I mean, over the last 10 months, we've built Breshna, and I mean, so it's on Unity. It's the game templates are created for you, so you just go on and you choose your template. You go on breshna.io, breshna.io, a plug right there, and you can go and create your own video games. Now we've seen massive organic growth. We've seen 14,000 users from 84 different countries that have made and played 5,000 different video games. And this has been completely organic. And the two things they continue to ask for is, first of all, this ability to upload their own assets into their own video games. And secondly, right now, when you make a game, it's a URL link. So you can take it to WhatsApp or a website or wherever. But they want an opportunity to show them off, to show these games to their community. And Web3 and gaming, actually, I mean, if you think about it, NFTs like CryptoKitties back in the day was one of the first places that Web3 and NFTs kind of tied together. So gaming and Web3 kind of goes hand in hand. So when we started thinking about these pain points for our customers, it only made sense for us to build a Web3 layer, which will one have an NFT marketplace. So you will be able to upload your own NFTs into your own video games, whether that's an avatar or a background or a music clip. So think about it. If you have a board ape, you can put it into your own video game where it's running and catching, things and items. But then once you've made the game, you actually get to take it to a virtual carnival. So just like a real life carnival where you go and you play short games, the makers of the games will build their own carnival stands. People will come to those stands, the players, and they'll transact with the Breshna token and be able to play games, be able to earn rewards. The carnival will have parades, it's going to have tournaments, it's going to have Ferris wheels and popcorn, and candy floss and cotton candy people and all of the good things about a carnival. So we have our NFT marketplace for the inputs, the game editor for making the games, and then the carnival for the outputs. And that's the Web3 layer we're building, and it's launching in July, so we're really excited about that.
Wonderful. So if I am thinking as the NFT maker, I want to make money off of my NFT, number one. I want to develop a game and make money off the game. And then I want the person who bought the NFT, who's playing the game, to also extract value, money, however you want to say it. Are these three things possible? Can you kind of like in a very simple way bring it together?
Yeah, for sure. So if you think about it, Alison, the three things you said are exactly the three roles. So there's the game maker who's making the games, there's the NFT owner who's providing the inputs, and then there's the player who's playing this game that contains the NFTs, right? And all three of them, every single token transaction that happens, it gets split between these and a few other stakeholders, right? So every single transaction that'll happen, it'll be like, okay, 35% of that transaction goes to the game makers and the NFT owners. Because it could be that you have a board ape and you've put it in the marketplace to be used. You may not be the game maker. Someone else might make a game using your board ape, but every time your NFT gets used, you get a reward for it. So you're getting the reward for the use of your NFT. The game maker is getting the reward for the play of their game, and the player is getting rewards through the play to earn rewards pool for playing the games, voting on the games, being in the tournament, and engaging in the carnival. So makers, players, and contributors, all of them can not only create and share games, but they can also monetize their engagement in the Breshnaverse.
How do you interact in terms of wallets and purchasing and getting involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Alison, for us, democratizing video games was our first goal, right? So, if you think about it, when we created the platform, it required no game development knowledge. Most of the users that we have on there have never created a game. So they're not Roblox players, they're not on Unity, they're not on Yo-Yo Games. These are people who are coming on Breshna and creating their games for the first time, whether that's a teacher in South Africa or a mother, in Pakistan, or, users within the US. People are making prom proposal games and birthday games and education games and social impact games and all kinds of games on Breshna. So, exactly what we did, the flat learning curve we had for video game development, we're going to create an on ramp to Web3. So, what we're actually doing is that you actually do not require a wallet. So first of all, you don't even, if you can go into Breshna and not even transact in the marketplace and the virtual carnival, and that's totally fine. If you just want to make a game, bring it as a URL, totally fine. If you want to transact in the marketplace and the virtual carnival, then you can create your own wallet using fiat. So you can actually do credit card. And now this is happening more and more. You've seen it in Splinterlands, you've seen it in a few other places where Web2 users can actually transact, where their wallet gets created in the back end. And I mean, so they're gathering all the tokens and the NFTs, and that we're doing for them, that upfront work, that upfront lift. But they do not have to come in with a MetaMask going or a Coinbase going. So this is actually completely day one of Web3, where you come in and the Breshnaverse becomes that on ramp for you, where you can come in, create a wallet, and have those seed phrases, but you don't have to go and transact in the Web3 economy right away off the bat. And this actually kind of sets us apart. There's a lot of chatter in the Web3 space around the play to earn model. And what we're trying to do is not have people come in to earn, it's and earn, right? So it's play and earn, make and earn, contribute and earn. So they're there for the utility of the platform. Earning the token is a top up. Like that's a reward structure that the game offers.
So when we hear different metaverse out there, how is Brejna verse different than, say, like Sandbox, what something like that?
Absolutely. And Sandbox is a great example, right? I mean, they've done some amazing work. They're like the leaders in the space. And if you look at it, they also have a similar, like a marketplace, a box editor, and then the land map. The thing with Sandbox and some of the other Web3 metaverses is that all the NFTs that live within them at the moment are driven by the ecosystem themselves, right? So while you have the Lego and the building blocks, it's the same building blocks. The NFTs that you're using are created by the ecosystem. First of all, we're opening up the doors and saying, hey, if you have an NFT series or a music or anything that lives on any blockchain, you can actually bring it into the Breshnaverse and have it live within your video game. So that's something that's like a step out of the usual Web3 model. But then also we want to build a collaborative space where everyone can come together, not just as passive players, where the gameplay has been decided for you, but as empowered content creators. And that's why this idea of TikTok for video games is really appealing to me, because if you go on TikTok, it is empowered content creators sharing. It could be the same dance, but you add a custom touch to it, you make it your own, and then you share it with your community. And in the same way, it could be the same templates that everyone else is using on Breshna, but you make them your own, and then you take them to the virtual carnival and share them. So we're imagining a SimCity level, like full boom carnival where everyone will be able to come, but then also bring their own NFTs and their own video games into it. So we're actually undertaking the private sale of the token right now. So we have our white paper and everything. So we're focusing more on that side right now, partnerships with strategic value add investors. And then July is when we launch our token, we launch our NFT marketplace, we launch the contributor functionality. In October is when the carnival comes out. So you'll have to wait till July to upload your own NFTs and see them in your own video games.
How big is this space?
I mean, the gaming space is huge, right? I mean, I think it's like, I've lost the last number, but I think it's $29 billion. The video games industry, at times it's greater than the music and the movies industries put together. I mean, there's actually data out there, so I don't have it on hand, but it's a huge industry. And if you think about it, Web3 gaming is just starting. And what's very interesting actually is what we've seen so far in the Web3 space has been very much the deep, immersive video game experiences, kind of like, Roblox, which goes Sandbox or Splinterlands or Axie, I mean, all of these games that are creating the deep, immersive experiences. But often the experts are predicting that this year, like 2022, will be the year where Web3 hits hyper casual games, which is, again, the fastest growing genre of games. But it hasn't really, the skepticism that was there with the freemium model when it started with mobile games. I think there's a little bit of that kind of skepticism at the hyper casual games of, oh, like, will they be able to leverage a token economy or NFTs and all of that. And I actually think that we're at the front of that curve. And there's large publishers that are doing hyper casual games that are now moving rapidly into the blockchain space. So I think a lot of exciting stuff will happen, and we're at this interesting intersection where we're doing no code, so content creation, hyper casual games, Web3, and purposeful communication. And these are all exploding tech trends, and I'm just so excited to be at the forefront of them. And I think the cake only gets bigger with collaboration. So anyone who's listening, if they want to collaborate, I'd rather collaborate than compete. And I think the cake just gets bigger.
Well, I think a lot of people would like a slice. Thank you so
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Miriam. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Allison. Thanks for being game, and thanks for having me. I love sharing our story.
Oh, my pleasure.